All right, today we are going on a journey deep inside one of the most secret, most awe-inspiring places in all of mystical literature. We're talking about the fourth palace, or the fourth Heichal. Now, as the Zohar describes it, this isn't just a location, it's a living system. It's the cosmic chamber where our prayers get processed, our deeds are put under a microscope, and the very decrees that shape our world are forged. So, let's unlock its secrets.
I want you to picture a celestial chamber. It's vast, it's majestic, and it's bathed in this radiant light that is somehow both beautiful and, honestly, terrifyingly clear. There is no room for gray areas here. This is a tribunal, a cosmic supreme court that operates with just, well, absolute precision. You see angelic figures moving with purpose, streams of data, which are our actions, our very intentions, they're all flowing in, and hovering right in the center, the great scales of judgment. This, my friends, is the engine room of divine governance, where the spiritual physics of cause and effect becomes our manifest reality.
So to really navigate this complex realm, we've laid out a roadmap. First, we're going to explore the architecture of the court itself. Then, we'll meet the judges and the witnesses. After that, we'll see exactly how a verdict is reached, and then we're going to unlock the whole thing with a couple of modern analogies. And you have to stick around for the end, because that's when we'll discover the one power that operates completely beyond these scales.
Okay, first up, the cosmic court. To really understand how this place works, we need to look at its blueprint. You know, what is this palace actually made of? And where in the world does it get its power?
The most crucial detail, and I mean, this is the key to everything, is its name. It's not just the fourth palace. It's also called Heichal Zechut, the palace of merit. And right there, that's a paradox. Think about it. Why would the place where everything is judged, the very center of cosmic justice, be named for merit? That single detail, that's the key to its entire philosophy.
This contrast reveals the court's true priority. Yeah, the governing law is din, or strict judgment, but its entire orientation, its focus, is towards Zechut, or merit. This tells us the system isn't actually designed to find fault, it's designed to find worth. It suggests a cosmos that is, at its core, optimistic, one where the very first question asked of any soul, of any action is, okay, where is the good here? Judgment is just the tool, but finding merit, that's the goal.
And make no mistake, this isn't some distant, abstract heaven we're talking about. According to the Zohar, this is the command and control center for divine governance in our world. The events, the challenges, the blessings that show up on Earth are the downstream results of verdicts issued right here. You could say it's the celestial judiciary that directly impacts the executive branch, which is our physical reality.
So, what powers this palace? Well, it runs on a few key divine energies, the Sephirot. The whole process kicks off with Bina, or understanding. Think of it as a vast sea of potential from which any decree could emerge. But to make a decision, you need a force of precision, of separation. That's Gevora, or severity, the raw engine of judgment that just cuts through all the ambiguity. But if you left that unchecked, pure judgment would be way too harsh, so it's balanced by Tiferet, or harmony, which blends that judgment with compassion, making sure there's context and fairness. And once that balanced verdict is reached, it's channeled through Yesod, the foundation, and finally becomes real, manifest reality in Malkut, our physical world. It's a complete system, from cosmic principle all the way down to earthly reality.
Now, to really grasp this complex architecture, let's try to reimagine it. Let's think of the fourth palace not as a building, but as a central decision engine in some massive cosmic computer network.
So in this model, our actions are the inputs. They're like data packets being sent to the server. The central processing unit, the CPU, is a consciousness the Zohar calls Zechut. Now, before any processing happens, the data is verified by two nodes, the witnessing lights, which function like a flawless, immutable blockchain. The case is then analyzed by a distributed processing array, that's the 70 judges. And finally, the output is pushed through an API, an angel named Gazriel, who executes the final decree in our world.
Okay, now that we kind of get the architecture, let's meet the personnel. Who are the actual judges and witnesses operating inside this cosmic court?
70. Now, this number is not arbitrary. Not at all. It's the number of judges in the Sanhedrin, the ancient high court of Israel. And that immediately tells us we are looking at a system of law, a supreme court for the cosmos, designed with a very specific and meaningful structure.
And the sources give us this incredible visual. The 70 judges are described as shining lights, arranged in a circle. Now think about that formation. It's brilliant. It ensures complete transparency. Every single judge can see every other judge.
There are no backroom deals, no hidden perspectives. The case is examined from every possible angle simultaneously by the entire council.
And this symbolism of the number 70 goes even deeper. It represents totality. In Jewish tradition, you have the 70 nations of the world, 70 faces or interpretations of the Torah, and 70 root souls. So what does this mean? It means the tribunal is universal. It has the expertise and the jurisdiction to judge every single soul, from every background according to every possible nuance of cosmic law. It is a court of comprehensive, multifaceted justice.
But the Council of 70 isn't alone. Standing before them are two distinct lights, and each one has a critical function.
These are the two witnesses, the official scribes of the court, and they are flawless, impartial recorders. One is tasked with documenting every single merit, every good deed, every positive intention, all presented for the defense. The other is tasked with documenting every liability, every transgression, every negative act, all presented for the prosecution. Together, they create a perfect, unalterable audit trail of the soul's entire journey.
So the crucial point here is this 70+2 structure. It mirrors a sophisticated legal system, right? You've got a judicial bench and official recorders ensuring the integrity of the whole proceeding. This isn't just arbitrary divine whim. It's a universe governed by mishpat, by law, order, and due process. The architecture itself tells us that justice, not chaos, is a fundamental principle of creation.
So we have the court, we have the judges, we have the witnesses. Now let's get into the mechanics. How does a case, let's say a prayer or a person's life deeds, actually proceed through this system? What are the specific steps from, say, indictment to sentencing?
Well, the process follows a very clear legal procedure. A case is brought forward and the two sides are presented. Then comes this breathtaking moment of the weighing, where the great celestial scales balance one side against the other. The two witnesses then present their flawless, objective testimony. Only then do the 70 judges enter deliberation, considering all the evidence from every angle. Once a verdict is reached, the decree is carefully formulated and then transmitted for execution in our physical world. And this entire process is managed by a host of specialized angelic officers. It's not chaos. It's a highly organized bureaucracy, almost like a celestial cabinet, with a minister for every single portfolio. You have specific angels, like Daharael and Gadiel, who are responsible for presenting the merits and liabilities. Another one oversees the scales. Others are tasked with announcing and, ultimately, transmitting the final verdict. Each one has a specific job, ensuring the system runs with absolute precision.
Okay, this all sounds incredibly airtight. You know, a sealed and determined process. Once the decree is issued by this unbelievably sophisticated system, is that it? Is the verdict just absolute and final?
And the answer, profoundly, is no. The sources reveal this hidden mechanism, a kind of Supreme Court appeal that can actually be initiated by us. A sincere act of tshuva, of repentance in return, has the power to force the system to halt proceedings. It acts like a high-priority interrupt, giving the appointed angel the authority to literally tear up or amend the verdict. So the crucial point is, our choices remain a powerful variable. The system isn't just about judgment. It's designed to respond to change.
All right, we've seen the mystical mechanics and the profound legal structure. Now, to make this even clearer, let's break this down using two really distinct modern analogies, one designed for a younger mindset and one for a more technical adult perspective.
First, let's try a video game analogy. Just imagine that life is a cosmic quest, and the fourth palace is the judgment chamber you enter at the end of a level.
Throughout your quest, you're collecting gold merit coins for good choices and red mistake tokens for poor ones. In the chamber, they all get placed on the scales of power. Then the 70 council sages watch a complete playback of your level on 2 recording crystals, one for all the highlights, one for all the bloopers. Based on the balance, you're awarded power-ups for your next level, like good fortune, or maybe debuffs, like new challenges. But here's the secret. The ultimate decision of whether you even get to continue playing isn't made here. That call comes directly from the game developer.
Okay, now for the more technical version. Forget the game for a second. Let's think of this as a piece of cosmic engineering, a hierarchical governance architecture.
In this model, human actions are parsed at a data ingestion layer. A weighting system calculates the net value. The 2 witnesses, they're an immutable ledger, a perfect audit trail. The 70 judges are a distributed processing cluster, analyzing cases in parallel.
Final verdicts are then pushed through a deployment pipeline as scripts that execute in our world. But here is the absolute key. This whole system runs on user-level permissions. Kernel-level processes, things like existence itself, are managed by a higher authority that has a root-level override.
And that brings us to our final and truly the most profound section. We've explored this magnificent, terrifying, intricate system of cosmic law. We've seen its structure, its process, its officers. But what are its limits? What lies beyond the jurisdiction of this celestial Supreme Court?
And here we arrive at the system's ultimate secret, a principle stated explicitly in the core texts. Bane, chaye, umazonai, lo bezechuta talia milta, ella bimazala, which translates to, children, life, and sustenance do not depend on merit, but on mazal. Just let that sink in for a moment. The three most fundamental pillars of our existence, the continuation of our lineage, our very life force, and the basic means to survive, are not ultimately decided in the palace of merit. They are outside of its jurisdiction.
Now, it is absolutely critical we understand what mazal means here. It is not luck. It is not random chance. In Kabbalah, the word mazal comes from the word nazal, which means to flow. It refers to a direct divine inflow from a source that is above the entire system of judgment. It's that root-level access we talked about in the tech analogy. It is a transcendent stream of pure will and grace from the Creator that completely bypasses the scales and the courts.
And this right here is the ultimate message of hope, embedded within this entire system. The fourth palace is real. Our actions have consequences, and this system is the mechanism that governs them. It determines the circumstances of our lives. But the fact that we have a life, the fact that we have the potential for family, the fact that we have sustenance, that comes from a different place entirely. It is not earned through merit. It is an unconditional gift, flowing from a place of pure, unmediated loving-kindness that utterly transcends the scales.
So as we wrap up our journey through this incredible spiritual structure, let's just crystallize the main takeaways.
First, the universe is governed by an ordered system of law, not chaos. Second, while every action is weighed, that system is fundamentally designed to find our merit. Third, we are never trapped. Repentance always provides a path for appeal and change. And finally, the most essential things, our life, our future, our sustenance, are not earned, but are gifts from a source beyond all judgment.
And that leaves us with one final question to think about. If our fundamental existence is a secure gift, completely independent of our performance, how does that change the way we approach the merits we strive for and the mistakes we inevitably make each day? What does it really mean to live a life of accountability, knowing that our ultimate worth is never truly on the scales?
Thank you for joining us for this complete journey through the Pardes. We hope these ancient truths help you and your family improve your own dimensions this week. If you enjoyed this full chapter deep dive, please like, subscribe, and share which part of the journey touched your soul in the comments. We'll see you in the next chapter.